Thank you for your patience. As you know, this morning we've had an officer-involved shooting. With me this morning is Assistant City Manager Ray Ariano, obviously our command staff, Ms. Gay Thomas from the Office of Police Monitors here, the District Attorney's Office is here, our Special Investigations Unit is here, as well as our Internal Investigations Unit. You see behind us here at this location at the 6600 block of South MoPac Expressway at 10:12 p.m. a 911 call was received. At 10:14 p.m. the first unit that was assigned to this call. At 10:14 p.m. the reporting party to this call advised that a male was threatening individuals with knives. At 10:15 p.m. the individual that called 911 was yelling, "Just send help." At 10:19 p.m. the first officer arrived on scene. The officer immediately notices a suspect holding knives in his hand. In his hands, standing outside a vehicle that's still in the parking lot behind us. The officer puts out on the radio requesting a unit step it up, which means lights and sirens need to get here immediately. At 10:20 p.m. the officer broadcasts suspect down, shots fired. At 10:21 p.m. EMS was dispatched, and at 10:22 p.m. we put out the call for the officer-involved shooting to all the assets in the Austin Police Department. At 10:27 p.m. EMS arrived on scene. I will say that our officers, which is something I'm very proud of, despite the fact that this man was attempted to assault an officer with knives, immediately started life-saving tactics on him, trying to save his life. EMS arrived on scene, and at 10:40 they took off. At about 10:40 with CPR in progress. At 10:49 the suspect was pronounced dead. What occurred in this incident, when our officer arrived on scene, he sees a male white suspect who's a 29-year-old white male with two knives standing by a vehicle believed to belong to the suspect. The suspect had two knives in his hand. The officer sees the suspect with his knives in his hand. He puts out again to the unit step it up, which means respond, lights and sirens. Other members of the Austin Police Department patrol assets started responding. The officer then tactically backed up his patrol car a short distance to create space between him and the suspect. The officer then exited his vehicle with his long rifle, his AR-15 or M&P 15. Then the suspect was facing the officer. The officer gave him commands to drop the knives. I can tell the officer did so in a forceful but calm manner, gave several commands. The suspect then suddenly, without warning, ran full speed at our officer. The officer discharged a round, striking the suspect, and the suspect unfortunately went down and has been pronounced dead. I will tell you that in this instance, the video in the police car captured a great deal of the incident. It will provide some great context to what occurred and some great evidence for the grand jury and for us to see. I have reviewed that video, as well as video from the supermarket cameras that shows that the suspect came in here, drove around for a minute or two, and stopped right where he ended up back here, got out of his car, started pacing away. I can tell you preliminarily that based on what we've seen so far at this scene, that this appears to be a phenomenon we call suicide by cop. It's important for the community to know that approximately 1 hour earlier at the Dollar General store at the 700 block of West Stasny Lane, a very similar call came in reporting a man with a knife. It was interesting when you look at this video the day it's released. The suspect came out and was pacing, clearly waiting for somebody, and I believe that when this investigation is done, it's going to be determined that more than likely it was suicide by cop. With that, we do have two concurrent investigations going, an internal affairs investigation for administrative and tactical considerations and review, and a criminal investigation with the Travis County District Attorney's Office and our Special Investigations Unit which is part of the grand jury process here in Austin. Our officer is shaken up. I have talked with him, despite what the public and critics might say that officers somehow that doesn't impact them. I can tell you he's very shaken up and sad by this chain of events. So with that, I'll open up to any questions, but please keep in mind that that this is an ongoing investigation and that we have a lot of work to do. I will say one last thing, that I'm really of the belief that these two calls, the 1 hour before and this one, there's a high probability they'll end up being related to this scene. Any questions?